Hi, my dear students. Welcome to Study of Science. So, in today's session, I'm going to start with the chemistry first lesson of your class 9, that is matter in our surroundings. The name itself suggests matter. Then, what is matter? How can we define a matter? Students, everything which is present in the universe is considered to be a matter. Everything which is present in the universe is considered to be a matter. When I say everything, the air we breathe, the food we eat, stones, clouds, stars, plants, and animals, even a small drop of water or a particle of sand, everything is an example for matter. Finally, I can say that the matter is anything which is physical in state. It should have physical state. Otherwise, it is not considered to be a matter. Take an example of stone. If this is a stone, this stone, when we keep it in some place, it occupies space. It occupies space and it is also having mass. It is also having the mass. So this stone now, it is considered to be a matter. Similarly, there are so many objects which are surrounding us. So those objects has the mass and they occupy space. In the other words, we can say that they has both the mass and the volume. Okay, so we call such type of physical objects or physical things as matter. Understood? Right. Students, the early Indian philosophers or the scientists, they were classified the matter into the 5 basic elements. It was called as Panchatattva. It was called as Panchatattva. The Panchatattva are the air, earth, fire, sky and the water. These are called as Panchatattva. And another important thing, according to the Indian philosophers, everything in the universe, it may be a living thing or maybe the non-living thing, everything in the universe was made up of these 5 basic elements, that was air, earth, fire, sky and water, which was called as the Panchatattva. Everything in the universe was made up of these Panchatattva. Understood? So then finally, how can we define a matter? Matter is anything which has mass and which occupies space. Clear? Okay, now this matter can be classified based on their physical properties as well as the chemical properties. But in this lesson, we are going to understand the physical properties of the matter. We are going to mainly concentrate on the physical properties of the matter. So the matter can be classified into 5 important states. So they are solids, liquids, gases, plasma, and the 5th state is the man-made state, which is called as Bose-Einstein condensates. It is called as Bose-Einstein condensates. But in this lesson, we are going to mainly focus on the first 3 important states. They are the solids, liquids, and the gases. Okay, now let's understand some of the examples for the solids, liquids and the gases. This is very familiar to you. So some of the examples for the solids are the ice, the wood or any kind of the hardest particles, we call it as the solid particle. What about the liquid? So the liquid can flow. It can change its shape based on the container. You know this, right? So some of the examples are the milk, oil, the water, etc. So talking about the gases, there are mixture of gases which is present in the atmosphere like oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, right? So these all are considered to be the gases. So in this lesson, we are going to mainly focus on the 3 states of matter, that is solids, liquids and gases. Now, students, we know that the matter, any matter, if we take an example of ice or a log of wood or anything, any matter is made up of particles. Any matter is made up of particles. Then what are these particles? See, these particles are the atoms or the molecules which are present in the objects. Okay? Any physical objects which are present around us, we consider it as a matter. and this matter, it has some mass and it also occupies the space, and this matter is made up of the small particles. We call those particles as atoms or the molecules. Understood? Now the question is the matter continuous or particulate? What does mean by continuous? Whether it is looking like a solid completely, or it looks like the sand particles or the granules. How does it look? Whether it is a continuous or particulate. So to know this, I will explain you an activity. So through this activity, we will conclude whether the matter is continuous or particulate. So to perform this activity, we need beaker, water, some salt or sugar. So with the help of these things, we are going to perform the activity. See, here is a beaker. So let us fill this beaker with the water. So after filling the beaker with the water, let's now mark the level of the water. Now we'll take some salt or sugar, and what we'll do is we will dissolve this sugar or the salt, whichever we have taken, in the water. What actually happens when we put some amount of sugar or salt in the water and stir it? What happens? The particles starts dissolving. We can see that particles dissolve. Now start observing the level of the water in the container. Does the level of the water increases? No, the level of the water remains same. Please note, the level of the water remains same even on addition of the sugar or salt particles into the water. So the first observation is the level of the water remains same. Can you think why the level of the water remains constant even on addition of some sugar or the salt particles into it? Do you have any idea? It is because the molecules which are present in the water has some space in it. Due to the presence of space inside the water molecules, when we add some sugar or salt, the molecules present in them easily spread inside the water. They easily spread in the water. That is the reason the level of the water remain constant even on the addition of the sugar or salt into it. Clear? See, there are some particles which are present in the water. So there is some space in between them. So this space, they occupy the molecules of the sugar or the salt. So that is the reason the water level remains constant even on the addition of sugar or salt into it. The one more important observation here is, as we have added the sugar or the salt to this water, the water dissolves it equally. That means we take some water from any part of the beaker, it tastes similar throughout. It is not that only one part of the water is too salty or another is not salty, or one part of the water is too sweetened or another part is not. The water molecules evenly absorbs the sugar or the salt particles which get dissolved inside. So this is the second observation. The particles in the water, they spread throughout. That means they spread evenly. That is the second observation which you have to note it down. So now we can conclude that why the level of the water remains constant. It was because there was some spaces which was present between the water molecules, correct? And when we add some sugar or the salt, what happened? Those sugar or salt particles, they get dissolved evenly in the water in between the spaces. So now we can conclude that they are made up of particles. The water is made up of particles. That molecules is the particles. Okay, so we can conclude that the matter is particulate. It is not continuous. It is particulate because they are made up of particles. Here we have observed the water is made up of particles, right? They are molecules. So there was some space present inside it. That is the reason we could add the another particles into it. Correct? So every matter is made up of particles. Every matter in the universe, it is made up of particles. And finally, one more thing we all have to understand, that is, the particles which entered into the water cannot be seen through our naked eyes because they are very smaller in nature. They are very micro in nature. So to observe that, we need some micro instruments. Okay, so it cannot be observed through our naked eyes because the nature of the particle is very, very small. That is the reason they are able to easily occupy the space between the water molecules. I hope I made this concept very clear. If you like this video, you can share with your friends, and if you have not subscribed to my channel, kindly subscribe to my channel and don't forget to hit the bell notification. That's all for this session. I'm signing off. Thank you.